Disrespect exposed. Billionaire refuses to shake hands. But this incredible woman secures $2 billion funding for her community. Marissa stood at the entrance of the extravagant gala, her heart racing like she had just sprinted a marathon. The lights glittered like stars against the darkening sky, and elegant people swirled around her in their designer dresses and tailored suits. But amidst the glamour, she felt like a tiny fish in a big ocean, a nurse and single mom, determined to change her community but scared to reach for the stars. As she took a deep breath, the memories flooded her. Every shift at the local hospital, every late night at one of her part-time jobs, the sound of her children laughing while she tucked them into bed. The weight of economic inequality bore down on her shoulders like a ton of bricks. She had seen firsthand how people struggled, how they were dismissed by those in power. Marissa gathered herself and walked toward the one person she knew could make a difference, a billionaire known for building lavish skyscrapers, while ignoring the crumbling healthcare facilities in her community. She needed to speak to him to make her voice heard. As she approached, he looked up with a cold, blank stare. "I don't shake hands," he said, brushing her off as if she were nothing more than a passing breeze. Her heart sank. The weight of his disrespect churned in her stomach. But instead of backing down, something ignited inside her, a fire fueled by indignation and hope. She could no longer stay silent. This wasn't just about her anymore. It was about her neighbors, her children, and the brighter future they all deserved. Later that night, Marissa returned home, tears in her eyes, but a newfound determination in her heart. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The next day, fueled by the sting of that encounter, Marissa rallied her neighbors, sharing her dreams of better healthcare. She faced resistance in her community, the whispers of doubt echoing louder than the cheers. Standing in front of her small kitchen table, she felt defeated, almost ready to abandon her fight. But just as she was about to close the curtains on her ambition, a video she posted went viral. Within hours, viewers were pouring in, many saying her words gave them hope. Marissa felt embraced, the warmth of solidarity igniting the spark that had dimmed. With new momentum, she prepared for the upcoming town hall meeting, an opportunity where she would finally confront the billionaire directly. This was more than a battle for funding. It was a collision of hearts and ideologies. Standing at the podium in front of her neighbors, Marissa's voice rose steadily as she shared her truth, the truth of their struggles, their laughter, their worth. Yet doubt clouded her mind as she scanned the audience and saw her children. Their pride mingled with worry, making her throat tighten. The stakes were high. Would her words be enough to break through the facade of indifference? Would the tide shift for her community? The air was thick with anticipation, setting the stage for a confrontation that would echo long after this evening ended. How could she make a billionaire see beyond his empire and recognize the value of her community? The fight for justice was just heating up, and Marissa knew now that she wasn't alone. Marissa stood in front of the microphone, her heart pounding with a mix of fear and determination. The town hall was filled to the brim, faces illuminated by the harsh overhead lights, their expressions a blend of hope and skepticism. She clenched her fists by her sides, willing her shaky hands to hold steady. This was it, the moment that could change everything. "Thank you all for being here tonight," she began, her voice quaking slightly. She took a deep breath, letting the warmth of her community fill her spirit. "I'm here to talk about healthcare, the future of our families, the lives of our children. We've faced so much neglect, so many years of not being seen or heard." The murmurs in the crowd grew quieter. She could feel their eyes on her, some in support, others uncertain. But she was done being timid. "I know how it feels to worry about how to pay for medicine, to watch loved ones suffer because they can't get the care they need. This has to end." The energy in the room shifted. A ripple of agreement went through the audience. Marissa noticed a couple of her neighbors nodding, their faces lighting up with her words. With every passing second, she felt her confidence soaring higher. "And let us talk about the billionaire," She paused, scanning the crowd for the man who had dismissed her so callously at the gala. Sitting at the back, his expression remained impassive, eyes hidden behind dark glasses. He may build towers of glass and steel, but what about the people struggling beneath them? A low murmur erupted, some voices raised in agreement. She could feel it, a collective power building as everyone started to believe in her cause. It's not enough to throw $1 at our problems, she urged. We need real change, investment in our health, and the promise that being born and raised in this community means something. We are worth that investment. The billionaire shifted slightly, and for a moment, she thought she saw a flicker of emotion beneath his stoic demeanor. Marissa pressed on, fueled by their energy. I met many of you in this neighborhood, and I know how hard you work. You deserve not just healthcare, but access to education, jobs, and the dignity that should come with living here. The applause began softly, but soon it grew, echoing off the walls of the town hall. Even her children, sitting front row, clapped with wide eyes, pride swelling in their hearts. This was their mom taking a stand. As she spoke, Marissa felt the fear she had been carrying heavy like an anchor begin to lift, replaced by a fervent sense of purpose. She was not just fighting for herself. She was an advocate, a voice for those who had felt silenced for too long. Let us take this fight to the next level, she said, eyes shining. Tomorrow we will meet again, and I will need each of you to stand with me. It's time we make the billionaire understand just how powerful we are when we unite. The room erupted into cheers, people rising to their feet, pure excitement radiating from them. She could hardly believe the shift. The doubt that once clouded her thoughts started to dissolve, replaced by the empowering realization that they were indeed a force to be reckoned with. But in the back, the billionaire remained still, a statue of indifference. Was he really unaffected by their passion? Marissa felt a knot of determination in her stomach. She had come too far to back down now. As the cheers faded, she caught a glimpse of the road ahead. Networking, strategizing, raising funds. She'd need a game plan, and fast. Would she be able to rally people behind her and win their support again? The stakes were high, but Marissa was ready for the fight of her life. She stepped down from the podium, energy crackling in the air, her heart racing with new possibilities. Would they have the power to sway the billionaire from his indifference, or would their voices drown in the currents of wealth and apathy? The journey was just beginning. Marissa barely made it through the crowd after her speech, the buzz of excitement still simmering in the air. Faces glowed with admiration and hope. She hugged a few neighbors tightly, their smiles brightening her spirit even more. We can do this, one woman exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with newfound conviction. The night felt alive, electric. Yet, as Marissa walked away from the podium, the image of the billionaire lingered in her mind. What would it take to rattle him? She remembered his cold demeanor at the gala, the way he dismissed her like a fleeting inconvenience. The thought fueled her resolve, but she couldn't help feeling a twist of unease. Mom! Her son called out, breaking her thoughts. Did you see them? They loved what you said. The joy in his voice warmed her heart. I did, sweetie. And tomorrow I need your support again. Of course, he replied, bouncing with enthusiasm. As she made her way to the exit, she spotted her best friend Eliza waiting patiently. You were incredible, Marissa. Eliza beamed, enveloping her in a tight embrace. I can't believe how much everyone is rallying behind you. Thanks, Eliza. It feels like something has shifted. But tomorrow? That's when it really counts. Eliza's smile faltered slightly, a crease forming on her brow. You know the billionaire isn't just going to sit back and let this go, right? He's not used to being questioned. Marissa nodded, thoughts swirling. I know, but that's the thing. People are ready for change. They're sick of feeling voiceless. If we mobilize, Eliza placed a hand on Marissa's shoulder. But be careful. This kind of power attracts attention, and not all of it will be friendly. Marissa took a breath, the weight of reality pressing on her. I can handle it. We all can. They've ignored us long enough. It's time to show them we want to be silenced. I'm with you all the way, Eliza said, her eyes filled with fierce loyalty. Let us brainstorm ideas tonight. What do we need to do to gain traction before tomorrow? As they huddled together, drafting plans and strategies, Marissa couldn't shake the feeling that they were on the brink of something monumental. It was not just about healthcare anymore. It was about a community awakening from years of ease and indifference. Later that evening, as Marissa tucked her children in, she wondered if she had what it took to lead them through this storm. Could she keep their hopes alive? The love in her heart surged, reminding her why she was fighting in the first place. The next day approached like a freight train. Would they be able to truly unite the community, to challenge the wealthy individuals who held their fates in their hands? Marissa awoke early, heart racing, imagination racing with possibilities of what might come next. The tension in her chest echoed with anticipation. As she readied herself, a thought struck her like a bolt of lightning. What if one voice could somehow lead to 1 billion more? Undeterred, she marched out into the day, ready to meet the struggles ahead. But as she opened the door, the news blared from the small radio in her kitchen. Breaking. Unexpected move from the billionaire, and it puts pressure on the town. What will Marissa do now? Her heart sank. What kind of game was he playing? The looming storm was not just within her community but painted across the entire town. She had no choice but to confront it head-on. The battle lines were drawn. Did she have what it took to stand her ground against well-funded interests, or would she crumble under the pressure? And what would the billionaire's next move be? Marissa switched off the radio, her mind racing like a wild stallion. The billionaire's unexpected move seemed to cast a long shadow over her plans. She just knew he wouldn't stand by idly. As she rallied the community, gathering her thoughts, she focused on the tap of her heartbeat. She had a city to inspire, a cause to uplift, and it was time to rally her troops. With a deep breath, she turned to her son, still wearing his pajamas. "Let us get ready for the day, buddy. We're going to need all hands on deck." His eyes shone with enthusiasm as he helped her pack sandwiches for lunch. She found strength in his tenacity, a beacon amidst the swirling uncertainty. As the sun rose higher, she met with Eliza and the other community leaders. Coffee fumes curled in the air, mingling with the fresh scent of baked goods. They gathered at the local diner, the walls filled with pictures of the town's history, of battles fought and won. Today it felt like they were about to embark on another critical fight. "All right, we need to counter whatever the billionaire is planning," Marissa said, her voice steady. "We can't let his wealth intimidate us." Eliza nodded. "I've heard whispers that he might fund a campaign against you. We need to prepare for that." Marissa felt a shiver run down her spine. Campaigns could reshape narratives, shift conversations. But if we can get the community involved, then we'll have a voice louder than his money. We can show them how real change happens. With renewed focus, they mapped out their strategy. They planned to gather testimonials from local families, to show the human faces behind their struggle for better healthcare. Then they would take to social media, share stories, and invite others to join their cause. As they finalized their plans, a man in a suit entered the diner. Tension rippled through the room as he approached them, his expression serious. "I'm here on behalf of Mr. Ryland," he announced, his voice unfaltering. "He wants to meet with you, Marissa." Marissa's stomach nodded. "What does he want?" "He wishes to discuss your recent initiative and propose an alternative path to achieving your goals." A mix of shock and anger flared inside her. "Tell him it's too late for alternatives. I'm not bending to pressure or bribery." The man gave a slight nod, as if he anticipated her refusal. "Fair enough. Just know that Mr. Ryland won't back down easily. He is very committed to winning." Marissa's heart raced. "So am I." As he left, Marissa turned to Eliza. "This is the fight of our lives. If he thinks he can intimidate us with money, he's in for a surprise." Eliza squeezed her arm. "We're in this together, Marissa, one step at a time." The room transformed into a launchpad for ideas, passion igniting the air. They poured out plans like the hot coffee that filled their cups. They would harness their unity and turn their frustrations into hope, creating a wave of energy that money couldn't buy. As the day progressed, Marissa felt an unyielding fire building inside her. Standing against a billionaire was one thing, but standing alongside her community? That was empowerment. The clouds hovered low, but a warmth blossomed in her chest, urging her forward like a compass set toward true north. With a fervent spirit, she looked at her companions. "Let us show them what we're made of. Today marks a new beginning." And as they ventured outside, armed with their intentions, the weight of potential crackled like electricity in the air. But just as they stepped onto the street, A flash of a camera burst before them, news reporters encircling, the flashlights blinking like angry fireflies. How had they gotten here so quickly? Marissa steeled herself for what was to come. Would they have her back? Or would the growing storm drown out their voices? The moment was upon them, and the stakes had never felt higher. Would they rise, or would they be crushed by the machinations of a man who would stop at nothing? As the buzz of questions filled the air, one stood out. Are you prepared to face the billionaire's wrath, Marissa? In that instant she realized this battle was just beginning. Could she turn the tide and ensure her community's voices would be heard above the clamor? Marissa blinked against the brightness of the cameras, her heartbeat thudding in her ears like war drums. The question hung in the air, heavy and loaded. She could feel every eye on her, curious, skeptical, maybe even hopeful. The weight of the world pressed on her shoulders, but she stood tall, reminding herself why she started this fight in the first place. Yes, she said, her voice gaining strength, I am prepared. This is about more than just me. She gestured to the crowd of community members behind her. They were there, not just as spectators, but as warriors in their own right, ready to fight for their cause. Their determination spilled over, their unity igniting a spark within her. The reporters swarmed, their questions crashing over each other like waves. Marissa locked eyes with Eliza, whose nervous nod reassured her. This wasn't just about standing against the billionaire. It was about standing for something bigger. Mr. Ryland may have billions, but we have something he can't buy. Heart, community, and resilience, she declared, raising her voice to drown out the noise. Together we're going to ensure our voices are heard. And we'll fight for the healthcare our families deserve. An unexpected cheer erupted from the crowd, filling the air with an energy that sent shivers down her spine. A powerful wave of resolve washed over her. Before she could get lost in the emotion, a reporter pushed through, bringing the glare of the spotlight back on her. What's next for you, Marissa? How do you plan to counter Mr. Ryland's influence? Her instincts kicked in as she formed her response. We're gathering stories. Each family's journey matters. We're going to turn those into a campaign, one that reflects the strength of our community. We won't let his wealth dictate our narrative. Just then a voice broke through the crowd. And what about his campaign against you? What if he tries to tarnish your reputation? Let them try. We will not be silenced. A wave of applause surged through the gathered citizens, emboldening her spirit. Together, they felt powerful, a collective force that could not be ignored. Yet, as the excitement bubbled, the initial energy began to simmer. A cold realization seeped in. What if Mr. Ryland hadn't just come to intimidate? What if he had something more insidious planned? Marissa shared a nervous glance with Eliza, the same thought creeping into both their minds. They had a plan, a powerful one, but it all hinged on one question. Did they truly understand the depths of the billionaire's schemes? What lengths would he go to crush their movement? With determination, Marissa turned back to the crowd. You are my strength. We won't back down. This fight is ours, and together we will show Mr. Ryland that we're not just voices, we're a movement. As the cheers erupted once more, her phone buzzed in her pocket. She pulled it out, spotting a text from her friend Noah. I've heard some things about Ryland. You need to be careful. Meet me later? Her heart sank. Did he know something she didn't? Suddenly she felt the pressure mount. The thrill of battle clashed with the shadows of uncertainty lurking just out of sight. What hidden truths could turn the tides in their favor? And were they prepared for the storms ahead? As the crowd began to disperse, jubilant yet wary, Marissa exhaled a shaky breath. She knew they had a long road ahead, but the flames of resistance burned brighter than ever. With newfound determination, she cast her thoughts to the times ahead. Would the fragile alliances in their community withstand the pressure? Her resolve deepened as she stepped away from the throng. Victory seemed just out of reach, but she could not shake the feeling that a storm was gathering on the horizon, threatening to change everything they had worked for. What new revelations awaited her? Would they uncover the truth before it was too late? The fight had only just begun, and Marissa was determined to uncover the strengths in her community, as she faced a reality darker than she ever imagined. The sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows across the pavement as Marissa stepped away from the crowd. The roars of encouragement faded into a low hum, replaced by the quickening rhythm of her own breathing. Marissa! Wait up! Eliza hurried to catch up, her voice tinged with urgency. "What's up?" Marissa asked, glancing at her friend, whose brow was furrowed with worry. "Do you think we should really meet Noah? I mean, he has his connections," but Eliza trailed off, her uncertainty palpable. "We have to know what we're dealing with," Marissa replied, her mind racing with possibilities. Noah had always been in the know, but he also had a knack for embellishing the truth. Still, they couldn't ignore the potential intel. "Let us head to that cafe on Elm. It's quiet there," Marissa suggested, clasping Eliza's arm. "No sense in letting them hear us strategize." With each step her heart pounded. She replayed the earlier moments in her mind, the heat of the crowd, their unified voices, feeling that burning hope reignite in her chest. As exhilarating as it had been, the shadow of Ryland loomed larger than ever. He wouldn't take their fight lightly. She could feel it in her bones. When they arrived at the cafe, the familiar scent of coffee and pastries wrapped around them like a warm blanket. Marissa took her usual seat by the window, hoping it might provide her with a view of outside distractions. Eliza sat across from her, fiddling with her phone. "Any updates from the campaign team?" Marissa asked, focusing on the task at hand. "We've got a few stories lined up," Eliza replied, a spark igniting in her eyes. "Families willing to share their experiences. But they're scared. Ryland's influence. It's intimidating." Marissa grasped her cup tightly, feeling a mix of frustration and resolve. "We have to reassure them. This is about us, not just a single person. If we stand together, he can't take us down." Just then Noah arrived, his expression serious. The casual demeanor he usually wore was replaced with a taut seriousness that sent a chill through Marissa. She felt the air in the room shift. "Hey," he greeted, settling into the seat next to Eliza. "I'm glad you both could make it. I got some intel about Ryland." His voice dropped lower, drawing in their full attention. "What did you hear?" Marissa's pulse quickened, ready to absorb whatever twisted secrets lay beneath Ryland's polished surface. "Let us just say he's not just after the healthcare bill. There's more on the line. He's preparing a smear campaign. You guys are on his radar and he's playing dirty. I've got names, people who have seen firsthand what he's capable of." Marissa's brow knit together as a shiver ran down her spine. "What do you mean?" "Word is, he's targeting not just you but the families involved. Lawsuits, intimidation tactics. He wants to knock you off balance before it really begins." Eliza gasped, but Marissa didn't flinch. The challenge only spurred her determination. "We won't let fear win. We're going to expose him before he has a chance to strike." A spark ignited as the three friends exchanged resolute looks. They were terrified, but beneath that fear lay a powerful force, a commitment to their cause that couldn't be broken. "What's the next step?" Eliza asked, her voice steadier now. "We launched the campaign story. Start collecting those testimonials and learn as much as we can about his plans," Marissa said, each word heavier than the last. "It's time to take the fight to him." As they plodded together, a sense of unity enveloped them, a fabric woven of shared determination. They had to act quickly, strategizing every move to stay one step ahead of the looming threat. Marissa left the cafe with wrinkles of worry on her brow, but alongside it, the warm glow of purpose. The stakes were now higher, and every moment counted. What hidden alliances could they form to push back against the tide of anger and fear? And would they be brave enough to secure their own future, while uncovering the murky depths of Ryland's motivations? The game had changed, the real fight was just beginning. Marissa sat at her desk that evening, the soft glow of her lamp illuminating the stacks of papers piled before her. She could hear the distant sirens wailing through the city, their echo a reminder of the urgency pressing down on her. With every testimonial that trickled in, she felt both gratitude and dread. Gratitude for those willing to speak out, and dread for Ryland's inevitable backlash. "Got another one?" Eliza popped her head into the room, her smile contrasting sharply with the weight of their situation. "Yeah," Marissa replied, her voice strained with fatigue. "It's from a family in the district. They're scared, but they want to share their story." She glanced up at her friend, their earlier resolve flickering like a candle in the wind. "But I don't know if it's going to be enough." Eliza stepped into the small space completely, the determination in her eyes sparking a flicker of hope in Marissa's heart. "It will be enough, Marissa. We just need to keep rallying those stories. There's strength in numbers. We just have to push forward. Marissa sighed, leaning back in her chair. What if Ryland's threats become real? What if they start targeting these families like Noah warned us? Before Eliza could respond, her phone buzzed sharply on the desk. She picked it up, scanned the screen, and furrowed her brow. This isn't good. What is it? Marissa's heart dropped as her friend's face blanched. It's a report. Some guy released a video online, detailing supposed scandals involving you and other activists. Claims about corruption. Eliza's voice trembled slightly. It's going viral. Marissa felt her stomach drop. The smear campaign had started sooner than they had expected. He's trying to destroy us before we even get started. We can't let this set us back, Eliza insisted, her voice firmer now. We have to counter this with the truth. We just need to be strategic about it. Marissa nodded, but doubt gnawed at her. What if the truth isn't enough? This is a billionaire we're up against. He has influence, connections. What do we have? A community, Eliza said fiercely. People are still for us, just look at the rally. We have their voices. In that moment, a plan began to crystallize in Marissa's mind. Let's create a media strategy. We'll organize a press conference, gather our testimonials, and counter every single lie he throws at us. Eliza's excitement bubbled over. That could work. We'll show them he's not infallible. The truth always wins, right? Yes, if we present it the right way, Marissa added, a fire igniting within her. Fear had been lurking like a shadow, but determination was rising. We need to make the families feel safe to stand with us. If they see us fighting back, maybe they'll feel empowered to join. The two friends spent the next hours drafting a plan, adrenaline fueling their resolve. The camaraderie woven between them had transformed the oppressive night into a battlefield of courage and collective strength. They reached out to potential allies, advocates, journalists, and families ready to face Ryland's crosshairs. By sunrise, they had secured a time for a press conference and gathered participants ready to share their stories. But as Marissa pulled in a deep breath, a wave of uncertainty washed over her. What if Ryland retaliated? That nagging thought lingered like a bittersweet scent in the air. What if he tries to silence us? Marissa mused, even as they prepared for the fight. Eliza met her gaze with fierce determination. We'll make ourselves loud enough that he can't ignore us. Together. No backing down. Marissa's heart raced with the weight of it all. She glanced out at the waking city, its pulse mirroring her own. As they finalized their plans, a message flashed across Eliza's phone again. We just received word. Ryland's denying everything and preparing for a countersuit. The scales tipped once more, a fresh wave of dread crashing against their resolve. Brace ourselves, Marissa whispered, staring at the crafting storm, wondering if they would survive the coming tempest. Could they really stand united against the powerful, or would the pressure of the world around them force them to break? The answer hung between them like an unresolved note, heavy with uncertainty and the burning truth that every battle comes with its scars. What would be their next move in this perilous game? Would the truth and the bond they forged be strong enough to weather the coming storm? The battle was poised on the edge, and some fierce winds had begun to blow. As dawn crept into the city, Marissa and Eliza moved with purpose. The press conference was only hours away, and a surge of adrenaline pulsed through them. With every news alert that pinged on Eliza's phone, they felt the weight of anticipation building. The world was watching, and not just the community that rallied behind them. Eliza stared at the mirror, applying a light layer of lipstick. You know they're going to twist everything we say, she remarked, her voice steady but her hands shaky. Let them try, Marissa replied, trying to sound braver than she felt. We need to present ourselves as strong, united. We're not just individuals, we represent hope. A beacon of hope, Eliza echoed with a soft smile. When they arrived at the venue, the air crackled with tension. Reporters crowded near the entrance, their cameras ready to capture every moment. Marissa felt a knot in her stomach, her nerves merging with solidarity. It was time to show them what they were fighting for. As the clock ticked closer to the starting time, families who had shared their stories began to gather in the room. Marissa watched their expressions shift from anxiety to determination. She felt a warm rush of pride swelling inside her. They were brave. They were standing by her side. When the first wave of reporters surged through the doors, capturing footage and snippets of their preparations. Marissa took a deep breath. They might try to tear them apart, but today they would stand as one. Their testimonials were going to shine like a light cutting through the darkness. The lights dimmed, and Marissa stepped to the podium. The buzz of chatter faded as she faced the sea of reporters, camera lenses zeroing in on her. Heart-pounding, she scanned the crowd. "Thank you all for being here today," she started, her voice clearer than expected. "We're here to discuss the truth," but then, with perfect timing, a figure slipped into view, a tall man in an expensive suit. It was Ryland, flanked by his own cadre of lawyers, an air of arrogance swirling around him. The murmurs in the room erupted, a tidal wave of confusion. "Are you here to offer your side?" one reporter shouted, urgency lacing their voice. Ryland smiled, a mask of calm confidence. "I'm here to ensure this chaos doesn't get out of hand," he declared, the slight uptick of his lips suggesting he relished the attention. Truth can be very subjective. Marissa felt a surge of anger rise within her chest. He had the audacity to come here, to invade this sacred space where they just wanted to share their reality. But before she could respond, Eliza squeezed her hand, grounding her. "Today is it about him," Eliza whispered, echoing their unspoken mantra. The conference continued as Marissa highlighted the stories of families, the loud truths of their struggles. She felt the passion in her words ignite the room, a wave of encouragement washing over their gathered supporters. As she spoke, she locked eyes with Eliza, who stood among the crowd, a pillar of strength. Each story shared created a ripple effect. Emotions rippled through their audience. Gasps, nods, and supportive murmurs punctuated their narratives. Then came the moment when she invited one of the families to the stage. It was a mother whose voice wavered, but she stood firm, her resolve palpable. As Marissa watched her speak, a hush fell over the crowd. The rawness of vulnerability filled the air, leaving no one unmoved. But then came the unexpected, a familiar face pushing through the throng of reporters. It was Noah. His brows were furrowed, and his eyes scanned the crowd frantically. "Marissa!" he called, breathless as he fought his way to the front. The room fell silent. All eyes shifted to him. "You have to stop. Ryland's publicist is working on a counter-narrative right now. They're gearing up for an all-out war." A chill swept through Marissa, her heart racing with the implications. All their efforts, the courage they summoned, was it all about to spiral into chaos? "Is this a game to him?" she whispered, panic simmering just beneath the surface. Would they really be able to face what was coming? Eyes locked on Noah, she felt the weight of uncertainty creeping in again. What was their next move in this tangled web of deceit and power struggles? The storm was far from over, and she sensed the winds were shifting once more. Marissa's heart felt like it was thundering in her chest. The tension in the room thickened. Noah's warning echoed in her mind. The press conference was supposed to be their moment, their chance to shine a light on the truth. But now doubt hung like a storm cloud. "Noah, what do you mean all-out war?" she asked, a whisper barely above the rising din of murmurs and flashing cameras. "Ryland's been prepping a full-scale smear campaign against you all. They're working on spin right now, and if we don't control the narrative," he paused, swallowing hard, "this could undermine everything you've built." Marissa glanced at Eliza, who had gone pale. The reality of facing off against a wealthy and ruthless opponent threatened to swallow them whole. They had sacrificed too much to see it crumble, now felt unbearable. "Noah," Eliza began, her voice trembling but resolute. "We can't let him draw us into a petty fight. We have to stay focused on the truth. We have to be bigger than this." Marissa took a deep breath, grounding herself in Eliza's unwavering confidence. "You're right. We can't give him that power. Let us keep speaking our truth." With newfound determination, Marissa turned back to the crowd. "I know our voice matters," she declared, projecting her strength. "And with your help, we can drown out the noise of deception." Cheers erupted from their supporters, filling the space with energy. Each clap, each shout wrapped around her like a warm embrace. There was strength in unity. Noah nodded, joining their side as they formed a front against the whirlwind Ryland was creating. "We'll keep a close eye on the media. Let us prepare for whatever he throws at us." As Marissa continued to share heartfelt stories, she noticed the room's atmosphere shifting. Each family stepping forward was met with tears and applause, the pain and struggle transforming into a mighty call for justice. This was their reality, raw, unfiltered, and undeniably powerful. But even as she spoke, every sight of Ryland sauntering about with his lawyers felt like fire in her veins. "We are not victims," she pressed. "We are not fighting for sympathy. We are fighting for our lives." The sound of cameras clicking echoed as she glanced at Ryland, savoring every fleeting moment of triumph. This was her chance. Then Eliza surprised everyone by stepping forward. "I just want to say something," she said, her voice trembling but gaining strength. "We all have different stories, but we're bound by a common thread, a need for dignity and respect. We refuse to be silenced." The audience erupted in applause, chanting their names. The pressure shifted, the tide turning in their favor as hearts filled with hope. Feeling the adrenaline thrum in her veins, Marissa watched Eliza, pride swelling in her chest. This was what they had fought for. A community willing to rise up together. But just then, in the midst of the triumphant moment, Ryland spoke up, his voice cutting through the noise. "Respect is earned, ladies. And from what I see, what you have to offer is hardly worth recognizing." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Marissa felt a heat rise to her cheeks, anger mixing with disbelief. How could he belittle their pain with such arrogance? Eliza's face hardened. "And what have you earned, Ryland? Money? Control? There's no dignity in disregard." Marissa locked eyes with Eliza, their shared resolve igniting a flame. They were doing this together. The embers of their courage burned brighter, ready to push back against the darkness. But as Marissa confronted Ryland, a seed of fear crept in. What other tactics did he have planned? The conference, so full of hope, had morphed into a battleground. With each exchanged word, the stakes were rising. As reporters jotted down every phrase, Marissa's heart raced. Will we be ready for what comes next? She wondered silently to herself. The moment felt electric. The outcome hung in the air. Would their resolve be enough to withstand the storm? Or would it all come crashing down under the weight of Ryland's ambition? As the tension swelled, anticipation hummed like a live wire, and in that moment, Marissa realized this was only the beginning. The next round was looming on the horizon, and they were about to discover just how deep the fight would go. What if they had underestimated Ryland's reach? What other secrets lay hidden, waiting to be unleashed? The press conference had become a battleground. Marissa stood at the podium, adrenaline coursing through her veins as the tension crackled in the air. She could see Eliza beside her, grounding her with unwavering support. The atmosphere was electric, filled with both fear and determination. What we have to offer isn't about wealth, Marissa replied to Ryland, her voice steady despite the fury boiling inside her. It's about people. It's about families who deserve better healthcare, a right, not a privilege. Ryland smirked, brushing off her words with disdain. Is that really all you have? His voice dripped with sarcasm, fueling the anger that burned in Marissa's chest. She inhaled deeply, channeling her anger into strength. No, Mr. Ryland. This is just the beginning. We will not let you silence us. The applause from the crowd echoed like thunder, vibrating through her body. It felt empowering, as if every clap made them braver. But a shadow still loomed over them. Could they sustain this energy against such a powerful foe? Suddenly, as if on cue, a news anchor from the local station broke into the conversation. What is your response to the rumors that you might be launching a campaign that could undermine the credibility of these families? Marissa's heart raced. The circulating gossip had morphed into an undeniable threat. She felt her instincts sharpen as she stared at Ryland, who had a glint of amusement in his eyes, a predator relishing the chaos. Before she could respond, another powerful voice rose from the crowd. Marissa, don't be afraid of what he throws your way. We've got your back. Cheers erupted again, igniting hope within her. That support was a lifeline in the storm, reminding her of the unity they had forged. See, that's what you'll never understand, Marissa shot back at Ryland, feeling the courage swell in her voice. These families are worth more than your manipulation and schemes. They fight for each other, not against. A moment of silence fell, the intensity palpable as Ryland reeled from her response. Marissa knew they were not just voices anymore, they were warriors. But as the conference wore on, inklings of fear twisted in her gut. What would Ryland do next? Would he truly unleash an all-out war to dismantle their progress? Eliza stepped up again, adding layer after layer of scrutiny to Ryland's bravado, each word a dagger. You think people are afraid of your money? We stand for something real. Marissa watched as Ryland's composure began to crack. The tide was shifting. Their words were beginning to resonate. And for a brief moment, she could see vulnerability flicker across his face. But soon Ryland's veneer of control hardened. You're wasting your breath, ladies. Control still lies with me. I am the one who brings investment. No, Marissa shouted, catching every reporter's attention again. Control lies with every single person here today. Together, we are stronger than your towers and your money. This fight is not just for healthcare. It's for respect, dignity, and community. Suddenly, another family stepped forward. Their leader, a father, voice trembling yet powerful. We don't need handouts. We need fairness. What Marissa and Eliza are doing matters. His words resonated in the crowd, igniting a collective roar of agreement. As the noise echoed around her, Marissa felt steam rise in her chest. This was at a moment of collective realization. Let us unite for a campaign of our own, she proposed, urgency flowing through her words. Stories that highlight the truth of our struggle. We'll turn Ryland's deception into our source of strength. The crowd erupted into cheers, calling for change, igniting the passion that had lain dormant for so long. Armed with hope, they would publish their truths, amplify their voices, and show that they were more than just statistics. Marissa locked eyes with Eliza again, both women understanding that their fight was far from over. Just then, she caught sight of Noah nodding approvingly from the back. Yes, this was their moment together. No more standing alone against the billionaire. This was a community rising. Yet even as they celebrated, a question loomed like thunder. What retaliation would Ryland unleash? But it no longer felt insurmountable. They would face the waves together. As Marissa stepped down, a wave of reassurance washed over her. What mattered now were their stories, their power, and the lives they planned to uplift. They would not only survive this battle, they would thrive. They were a force of change, determined to protect the community they cherished. Just then she heard a familiar voice in the crowd. We will never back down. It was a mantra that resonated deeply. Marissa grinned, heart full, a glow of childlike hope sparkling within her. This was not just a fight for healthcare. This was a fight for humanity. They would overcome Ryland's storm together. But in the back of her mind, she resolved to remain vigilant. Whatever awaited them, she wouldn't face it alone. If they worked together, they would triumph, forever united, and finally turn the tide against the indifference that had plagued them for too long. As the crowd surged with energy, a thought struck her hard. This was just the beginning. The underlying hunger for change was fierce and alive, and soon everyone would know their names. They were no longer simply victims in someone else's narrative. They were authors of their own stories, and with that, the power they possessed was limitless. And the moment would come. A climactic showdown with Ryland awaited them. Now was the time to prepare. But before they could lose themselves in the thunderous applause and encouragement from their community, Marissa faced the cameras one last time. This is our call to action. We are just getting started. And with that fierce determination lighting the room, they stepped out of the shadows and into the light of a future woven with resilience. This was their moment to shine, to embrace the power they held, and to create a world where every voice mattered. And rise they would together. Now more than ever, their journey would inspire others to break free from fear and speak their truth. Marissa knew she had found her family, the heartbeat of change, and with every heartbeat, they would show the world that together, they were unstoppable. Now it was time to spread their message far and wide. Subscribe immediately to the channel, so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Your support matters. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second. Only true fans understand how crucial these actions are.